I talked with you on another video about articles a or an or the. We know when we will use a or an and when we will use the. Here we will talk about using of the and without the. إمتى هنستخدم الذا وإمتى مش هنستخدمها. Either I will use a or an or I will use no articles. ولا هستخدم ولا a ولا an ولا the. First of all, when I talk about names of groups, أسماء المجموعات. For example, name of a family. اسم عيلة. When I say the Adams, I will use the and the s at the end of the name. But when I talk about name of a person, I will say Adam only. When I talk about names of a nation, اسم أمة أو اسم شعب، أتكلم عن جنسيتهم فأقول the Egyptians، يبقى أنا كده بتكلم عن كل المصريين. لكن لو قلت he is Egyptian يعني بتكلم عن مصري واحد بس، يبقى مش بستخدم أي articles ولا إيه ولا أن ولا ذا. كمان لما بتكلم عن names of streets، Rabi Street or city، فيوم or continent، Africa or a country like Egypt, I will use nothing. But when I talk about compound nouns، يعني لو أنا قلت I love Egypt or I live in Egypt مش بستخدم حاجة. But when I say the Arab Republic of Egypt، الاسم المركب اللي هو جمهورية مصر العربية، هستخدم the. نفس الكلام when I say America، but here I say the USA or the United States of America. برضو لو أنا هتكلم عن names of a hotel، اسم فندق واحد، I will say Hilton Hotel. When I talk about a group of hotels, I will say the Hiltons لو هتكلم عن السلسلة كلها. Name of mountain، I say Mount Everest، جبل إيفرست. But when I talk about a group of mountains، سلسلة جبال، I will say the Alps or the Red Sea Mountains. When I talk about name of a school or name of a hostel, I will use nothing. So when I talk about name of one thing or one person or a nationality for one person, I will use nothing. But when I talk about name of a family, group of people belong to the same family, or name of a nation, or compound nouns, or name of groups of hotels, or group of mountains, I will use that. Then when I talk about time, when I talk about the morning or the afternoon or the evening, I will use that. But note, when I talk about at noon, I mean 12 p.m. or at night 12 a.m. الساعة 12 الظهر أو الساعة 12 بالليل، أنا بستخدم at ومش بستخدم any articles. يبقى بقول the morning, the afternoon, the evening, but here I say at noon or at night. When I talk about names of meals, I say breakfast or lunch or dinner. But when I talk about a specific meal، لو هتكلم عن وجبة معينة عجبتني، في الحالة دي هستخدم the. يعني في فرق بين ان انت تقولي I have lunch in the afternoon، I have lunch ما استخدمتش حاجة in the afternoon. لكن لو انا قلت لك مثلا the lunch yesterday was delicious، يبقى الغدا بتاع امبارح كان لذيذ. يبقى زي ما اتكلمنا في الفيديو اللي قبل كده when I talk about specific noun I will use that. When I talk about musical instruments، the piano or the guitar or the violin or the cymbals, any musical instruments, I will use that. But when I talk about sports, I say football or tennis or volleyball, I will use nothing. When I talk about adjectives to refer to group of people, like when you say the poor or the rich. The poor معناها الفقراء، the rich الأغنياء. يبقى لما استخدم adjectives to refer to a group of persons, a group of people, I will use that. But when I say I use nouns to refer to group of people, like when I say doctors or patients, I will use nothing. خلي بالك لو أنا استخدمت adjectives to refer to group of people, I will use that. لكن لو استخدمت nouns to refer to group, I will use doctors, patients, teachers. مش بستخدم حاجة مع group of people when I refer to them with nouns. لو هستخدم nouns يبقى الجمع هيغنيني عن الذا. لو هستخدم adjective هو اللي أنا بحتاج أستخدم ذا. Also, when I talk about abstract nouns, like school subjects, I say math, science, languages, Arabic, English, French. I will use nothing with the school subjects or with languages. When I talk about superlative, I know that I use the tallest, the shortest, and etc. Also, I use that when I refer to group of people using one noun. For example, ركز معايا في اللي جاي ده. I can say the doctor helps the sick. يعني الطبيب بيساعد المريض. The doctor helps the sick. But also I can say doctors help sick people. Doctors help sick people. وده اللي قلته لما اتكلمت معاكم عن الادجectives في الصفحة اللي قبلها. لو أنا هتستخدم doctors plural noun to refer to whole doctors, I will use nothing. Or instead of that, I can say the doctor. Also, when I talk, for example, about animals, I can say the tiger is a wild animal. Here I refer to all tigers or all the species. Or I say tigers are wild animals. يبقى إما استخدم the لو أنا عندي singular noun to refer to the whole species of tigers, or I say tigers instead of it without the. When I talk about public places like school or hospital or bank or library, I can use the if I talk about them for a specific purpose. يعني إيه؟ لو أنا رايح المكان as a visit لغرض غير الغرض اللي المكان معمول علشانه. يعني for example, if I go to school as a visitor, I will use that. But if I go to school as a teacher or a student, I don't have to use that. I say I'm a teacher, I go to my school every morning. Or he is a student, he goes to school on Saturdays. Okay? But when I use it for ordinal purpose, لو أنا هتكلم عنها للغرض اللي المكان معمول علشانه، أنا رايح المدرسة as a teacher or as a student، مش بستخدم that without that. لو أنا رايح كزيارة I will use that. Okay؟ يبقى لو أنا رايح زيارة أو لغرض معين مش الغرض اللي المكان معمول علشانه هستخدم that. لو أنا رايح for ordinal purpose للغرض اللي المكان معمول علشانه I will not use that. For example, I say I visited my uncle in the hospital. So I'm not a patient, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nurse. أنا رايح المستشفى